I just got done watching, listening to an audio clip from Solo Monster on TV Tracks' YT page. I'll pop a link in the description below and you can listen to what he had to say for yourselves. Everything he's had to say in Raw's ratings dropping so quickly, you know, not to be one to be like, I did warn you guys, I did warn you, I was right. Now, a 3-hour format for Raw is only really useful when it's a really, you know, commemorative episode, like Raw's Homecoming in 2005 when they left then TNN Network to, which became Spike TV, and going back to USA Network because there was less restrictions. Kind of odd since they're PG these days, but keep in perspective, this was 10 years ago. And, you know, we said this, and I said this quite specifically, on the review for SummerSlam 2012, where we had most of the guys in a Skype call, and we talked about the rather counterproductive measure of Raw going 3 hours permanently. Now, as mentioned just now, if it's a commemorative episode like Raw gets to its 700th, its 800th, its 900th episode, that makes sense to have a 3-hour special because, you know, it's one of those little things, you got to make it that little bit extra special. You know, and that's a given. But 3 hours each week, Raw is not a pay-per-view. And this is, like I say, this is something I called 3 years ago, particularly when the announcement of SummerSlam going to 4 hours for the first time this year. I made the, in fact, I'll even have the link in the description, and I'll even give you the point where I said, you know, are we going to get to such a point where every other pay-per-view now, excluding WrestleMania, goes to 4 hours, and WrestleMania goes to 5 hours? And I'll tell you why. Because WrestleMania is the granddaddy of them all. It's the biggest thing in professional wrestling and sports entertainment. It's Pro Wrestling's World Series. It's Super Bowl. It's FA Cup Final. It's, you know, it's the Oscars. It's that big a deal. And when you have SummerSlam go to 4 hours, now SummerSlam in its own recognition is a monumental pay-per-view. It's the second biggest event of the year. It's the WrestleMania of the summer. But when you have SummerSlam go to 4 hours on, you know, equal playing field to WrestleMania, then you're degrading WrestleMania. Which then goes back to, like I say, with Raw being 3 hours permanently, people have only got so much attention span to be able to stay in with those 3 hours. And let's not even count the amount of commercials going in. Now, not being somebody who's very familiar with how American TV does their commercials, advertisements, bathroom break, coffee breaks, call them what you will. When I saw Raw live on Sky Sports for the first time, because what you got to remember is, people, back in the day when Raw and SmackDown first came over to UK TV, we didn't, you know, we would actually have Raw on a Friday night and SmackDown would show on a Saturday night, so we could have time to, where Raw would have, where you would have the commercial breaks, we would actually put in WWE wrestler vignettes, like Stone Cold Desire vignette, which they used hyping up his return in early 2003. That is where you would have had a commercial. For us, that's where we had that in place of a commercial and then put our commercials in where applicable. Vince McMahon can call it sports entertainment for all he cares for, but it's a pro wrestling program. You know, let's just call it for what it is. And I don't really like this way where they... Let's get into the announcing shtick, where he tells the announcers what they can and can't say, and say, don't call WrestleMania the granddaddy of them all because that makes it sound old and antiquated. It's like, calling WrestleMania the granddaddy of them all is just showing the lineage and the heritage and the history in that event. You know, like the first WrestleMania event from Madison Square Garden, you know. Yeah, by today's standards, if you look at how matches are, well, to be honest with you, I think some matches were done better back in the day, but that's just my own personal belief. If you look at how the presentation is done, from the camera work to the lighting, and to the, you know, like things like the, I mean, they didn't have Timetrons back in that day, they just had the music. Again, overall, if you look at the presentation of, say, WrestleMania 1 to, say, compare it to WrestleMania 17, you notice a huge difference in quality. But as time's gone on, I find that the presentation with the creative, writing, booking, call it what you will, has actually gotten worse over time. I just find it's really strange where they go and do these stories that's kind of insulting the audience's attention when they have to do these recaps and recaps that happen from like weeks before. It's like, the audience know. You know, that's why they have the WWE app, that's why they have WWE.com. If they want something to recap on, the information's right there. You know, they're not stupid. And I think it's gotten to that point now where I think Vince McMahon needs to hand over the reins to Triple H, because I've seen what he's done with the highlights of NXT, and I say, hand the keys of the kingdom to him. Because the man has not just a clue, he has the clue of how to take this product forward. Because let's just be, you know, whilst we're putting our cards on the table, let's just be upfront. Vince McMahon's age has got nothing to do with it. It's simply because the man's out of ideas. He thinks what worked some 25 years ago will work again, and that they'll just keep doing the same thing over and over and somehow eventually work. No! Here's how you fix the problem. Number one, you keep John Cena as far away from the main event as possible, because he's had his time. He's a very good, you know, workhorse as far as the WWE is concerned, and he's in great shape, I will grant him that. But he's a 15-time world champion in the space of 10 years, and you've got guys like Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, who are practically salivating at the prospect of being a world champion, but they don't give it to them. And Seth Rollins, I will grant him, he's really stepped his game up and he's clawed to get where he is. I will give him that. I just think his personality needs an overhaul. That's just me. It's where they thought, oh, let's give us Rock versus Cena 2. We didn't want the first one. If it had been Rock versus Bryan, or heck, give us the one that we really wanted back in the day, Rock versus Michaels. You know, that would have been once in a lifetime. But by that point, Michaels had retired. Nuts. And the one that people really wanted to see, especially me, Punk versus Austin, because that would have done numbers. I mean, Rock, one of the greatest of all time. I think he could have been in the ring a little bit more often, because I felt he was really rusty in 2013. 2011, when he came back against Truth and Miz at Survivor Series, it was like the man had never left. But, you know, it's just this asinine thinking that Vince thinks, oh, Rock versus Cena 1 did so very well, I'll give him Rock versus Cena 2. And we're like, go sit in the corner. Go sit in the corner now. Triple H, you know, for all that I've said about him, from, you know, the backstage politics and how his character is represented, I mean, character representing, you know, that's just story. You have to take it for what it is. But as a businessman, I applaud him for what he's doing. And I think he's the one who's going to take the WWE into the future properly. Because, like I say, Vince has this very backwards thinking that you keep doing the same thing over, something will eventually work. It's like, When something's not working, here's what... Imagine the WWE as like a car or a steam locomotive, if you will. I'm going somewhere with this. Because even Steve Austin quoted, you know, the business is like a machine. You look at which part is not working, you take that part out, you put something new and actually fits in with the dynamics of what you want the business to do, switch the machine on, it starts working again, the business keeps rolling, and the problem is fixed. There are so many parts of the WWE right now that they does not mesh well with the payoff that they're looking for, that Vince doesn't get it. You know, push guys like Cesaro. This is another guy who's chomping at the bit to get to that level. Yeah, alright, the guy could, you know, I suppose if we're going to start looking at character representations and personality traits, yeah, Cesaro could be represented better, but the guy just gets in, gets on with it, and performs, because this is what the thing that a lot of them seem to forget. The fans are there to watch wrestling, and Cesaro comes in, and he's one of the best. He's a very strong, powerful striker, and he's doing what he needs to do. And once again, Vince McMahon, in his infinite wisdom, he just doesn't get it. He really doesn't. And the reason, as I say, it's got nothing to do with his age. I can give you two names to people that, one who is sadly no longer with us, and one who is still with us and going very strong. One of which is Stanley, because he's always about taking ideas forward, actually evolving, and actually having products and characters represent what is currently going on in the world, but still showing where, you know, the story came from. And he's actually all for making sure that, I think Random DC said something to the effect of, he's all about standing up for the rights of the gamer, just so that they don't go through the comic book censorship that they had to go through back in the day. Look it up, folks. You know, the comic book censorship thing was a big deal back in the day. Real big deal. And you look at the late Jerry Anderson, he was always looking to take ideas further into the future and actually evolve and actually try something new. Just going on a little quick tangent. For those that think that he was going to do... For those that think that he was going to do a new Thunderbird series with marionettes, nope. Everything was going to be computer generated. You know, just Google it to a Daily Mail report from 2009. He wanted to make a new series, but he wanted to do it up to date. He was always looking to, you know, take that next step forward, you know, in regards to evolution, but still be very faithful to where it came from. Now, with Thunderbirds Are Go, I love it. I think it's a nice little marriage that, you know, not everything is lost to CG, and a lot of it is still done with traditional modeling techniques. But see, this is the point. Those two people, very respectful and very accomplished geniuses, they were always looking to evolve. Vince McMahon, from the perception I'm getting, he's not looking to evolve. He seems to think, I'll do the same thing over, that'll work. No, it won't. When you have people going off in droves from your product, I mean, as Solomonster said at the end, before Raw switched off, he switched over to Nitro. And I'm guessing he's got the WWE Network, and Nitro's been off the air for 14 years. That should tell you something. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think about the whole situation. And yeah, is WWE going to go the same way of WCW? Because the signs are there that it's happening all over again. Have yourselves a good day. Thank you for watching.